And now the chairman is pleased to recognize for his first appearance in this hearing in this committee, the gentleman from Illinois, Darin LaHood. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. Appreciate it. Great to be part of this subcommittee. I want to thank the witnesses for your testimony this morning. I guess, Mr. Stacey, I wanted to just maybe see if you could highlight a couple examples of cyber attacks that have maybe recently happened where systems have been compromised, and maybe the cost to a particular company and how it affected citizens or customers.
Yes, two of the most recent are Black Energy and Havoc's attacks. These have been to the human-machine interface associated with the industrial control systems. Near as we can tell, those are primarily associated with collecting information, trying to map out systems and see what they look like, although the payloads on those are dynamic. There's been a very active response from DHS on this, along with other entities, in fact, traveling around the country in briefings with the FBI and notifying people about that. As far as the costs associated with individual utilities in mitigating that, I don't have insight into that, but I know the federal government and the laboratory took a very aggressive stance on notifying and making people aware of those particular malware.
And I guess as a follow-up maybe to Mr. Gaines, when we talk about when we talk about cybersecurity and talk about really what these entities are engaged in is criminal activity, when we talk about deterring that, I mean, are there currently any active prosecutions by the federal government, either the U.S. Attorney's Office or anybody that has that we can kind of use as examples to deter this behavior?
I'm not aware of any criminal activity. So I say that. I do know that there have been incidents that have been nation state and or in some cases domestic that probably warrant the investigation of that. A good example of that would have been the Metcalf incident that occurred in Southern California in 2013. That substation lost 17 transformers. There were 127 rounds of ammunition that was shot into the substation, and power had to be rerouted. To the chairman's point, though, that actor has not, and or actors have not been found, and the evidence obviously is very clear that it was multiple actors, very potentially. But to the extent that there has been prosecution, that has not occurred. And to my knowledge.
And is there, on that specific case with Metcalf, is there an ongoing investigation to try to determine who the perpetrator was?
There absolutely is. And following that incident, FERC issued a number of standards on physical security that the industry is now implementing. And a lot of that has to do with both the monitoring, both of the physical asset and the cyber asset. And so we've learned from an industry, but to the extent that we've seen that replicated or duplicated in the industry, it has not.
In terms of becoming aware when a system is compromised, walk me through a little bit of, if a company is compromised, the reporting on that in terms of to the federal government. Is that something that's made public, or who's the repository of threats or compromises that happen, and then how does that get made public, or is there some secrecy involved with that? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at, do companies, you know, in a competitive marketplace not want people to be aware that their systems were compromised for vulnerabilities? How is that addressed?
I'll give you a real live example. 11 o'clock yesterday afternoon, our systems were attempted to be penetrated by a denial to service. So they're flooding your network. That flooding of the network slows down your network. And at that point, we pick it up on our firewalls. We shut the traffic down, and then we do forensics on that. Within an hour, we report that to the ESISAC. That ISAC is our sector group that we use to facilitate that type of information. Now, I go back to my original point that I made earlier. That happened to me. I venture to say that that same actor was scanning other networks and that same DDoS attack was being attempted. At 4 o'clock, we get an acknowledgement back from the government that they received the information. As of 11 o'clock, or 24 hours later, I still don't have a response back from the government. there's a good example of the timeliness of information. If we could share that information real time within the industry, think about the potential of being able to collaborate very quickly and take action, because most likely that actor has shut down their server and they've moved on. And so we have no time, again, to take any reasonable mitigation steps. The good news is our security systems worked. To the extent that that threat I reported gets communicated, it does get communicated. Most likely it'll be a few months from now. It'll be watered down. And the real sad part about it is it doesn't have the level of detail to take any action on it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.